being with a man was a source of me feeling loved. That's how I felt like I was loved. I was totally 100% didn't care whether I lived or died.
Jennifer, we're so glad to have you in St. Louis today. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
So share with me a little bit about your childhood.
My earliest childhood memory was really my parents' divorce. I was 4 years old, I believe, when they sat me down to tell me they were getting divorced. And that lasted with me for a very long time. When I was 11, my mother gave me and my brother the choice to move in with my father or moving out of state with her and my sisters and my stepfather.
That's a big decision at age 11.
A huge decision. Me and my brother chose to live with my father. What I didn't realize is that when my mother left, she took a piece of me with her. 2 years later, I was completely self-destructing, running away, drinking.
What were you feeling during that time?
Lost and alone. Although my father was present in nature, I was alone and I was lost and I felt abandoned. And even though she didn't abandon me, that's just the way that I felt. So I started looking for love in all the wrong places. It wasn't until a couple years ago that I actually looked back, and being with a man was a source of me feeling loved.
You were looking for love in all the wrong places. Mm-hmm. And you found gangs.
The people I surrounded myself with, they became my family. They accepted me for who I was. They didn't judge me.
What did you feel like when you were with that group of people?
I did whatever I wanted, and I really had no limits. I had no fear of anything. I was being shot at.
What happened?
That was the everyday life there. But obviously I was hanging around with gangs, so I knew what I was involved in.
Did you lose friends?
Yes, absolutely.
All gang violence?
Gang violence, to drugs, to alcohol. I was totally 100% didn't care whether I lived or died. I was completely
Why didn't
out
you
of control.
care?
I didn't feel like anybody else did, I think, at that point.
Were you on a crash course?
I was on a total crash course.
So different from where you are today.
It's what made me who I am today, all of it. Each piece of it is what made me strong enough to be who I am today. My parents truly at that point were trying to do anything to save me from myself. So they had locked me up in adolescent facilities. When I came out of that facility, I did some outpatient. So I had to be on the straight and narrow for a little while, which, you know, I conformed and I did what I needed to do. Then during that process, my high school determined that I was never going to make it. So they sent me to an alternative school. Once I graduated high school, I got kicked out. And I ended up homeless that summer. So I kind of bounced around couch to couch, and I moved back to the South Side, and that's where I met my child's father. I ended up pregnant at 19, gave birth at 20 to my daughter, and she was my reason to change.
So what'd you do?
I started off waitressing, and then I worked my way up in the car business from a switchboard operator to a finance manager at 24, which was a male-dominated industry, so it was very difficult for me. And I started dreaming. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I seen this life that I wanted, where I vacationed with my family every year, had a $500,000 house, and a couple of years later, I had all of that. I got in the mortgage business, and I loved helping people. So helping them achieve the dream of home ownership was just perfect fit.
So you really made impact with families.
Yes, I did.
You built up a mortgage company, and then it fell apart. Mm-hmm. And now you are on the second mountain, so to speak.
I am. So I'm back. Mm-hmm. In this time, I've now aligned my purpose and passion in life with what I do for a living. So I believe if we can pull together and create something similar, people will have an option, and they can go with my streets that will be uplifting and, you know, great experiences, or they can go with the streets that's out there and end up
dead or
jail,
incarcerated.
Dead, incarcerated, drug addicts. I mean, I could have ended up any which way.
What got you out?
My daughter. It was about her, making her the priority, and putting myself second.
How did Mad Talent begin?
I just started my nonprofit last year, and it was just because I had a vision to create something different.
So what's the main mission?
The main mission would be to pull together different nonprofits across the Chicagoland area and to really create that alternative to the streets, teaching entrepreneurship, job co-op college readiness, teen homeless centers, also recording youth stories, having them share their stories with the world so that I can not only impact the abused, but the abusers themselves. And then eventually take the most impactful stories and turn them into motion pictures. That's the goal for Mad Talent. If we can use the social media channels that are out there to try to just give people hope and let them know they're not alone, it helps unlock the dreams inside of you.
It helps unlock the dreams inside of you.
So another part of my mission with Mad Talent is to create those life experiences and be able to share them with them, because I believe taking these kids off the streets, outside the streets in which they live in, and provide them a life experience, it will help them stop living in survival mode and know that this is world out there that they can obtain. So
unlock those dreams.
That's the goal. So we just started and we're going to be doing some amazing things.
What's next?
So what's next for me is for my branch to be the top branch in the country. I have a mortgage branch that we just started this year, and me and my partners to be really changing people's lives, but also while doing so, have it purpose driven to where we're giving back in the neighborhoods in which we work in. So we're creating change in our customer base and our referral partners. Because they work with us, we're all creating that change together.
That is amazing.
And I really hope to make an impact with that where other people follow suit, because I think with a lot of people just doing a little bit, we can make a huge impact in the areas we work.
What do you want people to take away from your story?
Nothing can define you, only the things that you allow to define you. The cycle in which you were brought up in does not have to be perpetuated through you. You can be strong enough to break the cycle, and just know that you can do anything you want to do. When you switch from survival mode into dream mode, when you're no longer trying to survive and you're able to dream and envision different things, that's when things really happen. And if I could just get kids who were like me to stop living in survival mode and start dreaming quicker, they can get out a lot faster. I know that just me sharing my story alone makes a huge impact on people who are in similar situations that I am.
You've got a great mission.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Women's stories are so impactful. Arras Sisters creates opportunities for women.